The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Well, good morning, you guys. It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026. And today is National Security Technician Day today, you guys.
Shout out to dispensaries that need security.
Oh, man.
Get your vaults checked.
Check your vaults. Yeah, see what's,
Make sure they're working right.
Here's one I appreciate. National Handwriting Day.
Oh, that's a graphic design thing.
Handwriting Day? Really?
Oh, handwriting is a key component of graphic design.
Not anymore.
All fonts are based on actual handwriting.
Stop it.
Most people don't stop it. That's my expertise, bro.
I don't know if I'm buying this, Jesse, because I know so many people that just
you don't have to buy it. I'm giving it to you for free.
There's so many people that don't even know how to write, though, Jesse.
Well, that doesn't mean that great fonts aren't based on great handwriting.
Well, you know what, then, Jesse? Then my handwriting needs to be a font, because my handwriting, my penmanship is out of this world.
It should be.
Can we create a Beck font, Jesse?
Well, that's one of the things that AI is going to help us do, is if you want to create a font out of your own handwriting, it's going to get easier and easier.
Oh, man. I would totally be down with that. Just have a Beck font. This is Dr. Mark. I think you're going to have to use this graphic in all of your typeset. The Beck font,
the highest font.
Yes. Oh man, I think this is going to happen. I think, Jesse, I am down.
Would you say you have like architectural lettering? That's what mine's like.
Oh, bro, it's. Let me tell you, it is the most beautiful architecture in the world.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice Trump impression.
Oh man, let's see. It's also National Pie Day today, you guys.
Any pie?
Any pie day. Let's see. Let's see.
I thought that was March 14th, right?
Well, that's we're talking about actual pie that you eat, Dr. Mark, not pie like a mathematical equation like you teach your students. So, yes. See.
So what is pie?
That's March 14th.
Pie Day. Yeah, that's in March. Pie Day, National Pie Day on January 23rd celebrates one of the nation's favorite desserts. No matter how you slice it, pie in just about any form makes a crowd happy. Fruit pies, berry pies, cream pies, and they are mouth-watering servings of homemade goodness. National Pie Day simply celebrates the pie. Everyone is invited to bake their favorite pie, but more importantly, the day reminds us to enjoy eating pies. And the only other question to ask is, will that be a la mode?
Depends on the pie.
You know,
Can be,
pizza
right?
pie. It does say National Pie Day simply celebrates the pie. Everyone is invited to bake their favorite pie, but more importantly, the day reminds us to enjoy eating pies. The only other question, that's the same thing. Why did it repeat it twice?
It doesn't say anything about excluding pizza, right?
No one's excluded. No one's excluded on National Pie Day. All pies are included.
Did you know that the first...
How about pot pie or shepherd's pie?
Hold on. Did you know that the first pies appeared around 9500 BC in the Egyptian Neolithic period or New Stone Age? So humans have been eating pies for a very long time, and with so many to choose from, we shouldn't have any problem finding one we like. After all, we celebrate the day twice a year, plus their cousin, National Pie Day. That's the cousin, the Pie Day, the PI Day, Dr. Mark, that you were referencing.
Well, I have to say that Spokane has an absolutely, one of the gems of Spokane is a place called Rocket Bakery, and they make the most incredible pies I've ever had in my life. So I'm gonna have to go get some.
So it also says that cream-filled or topped pies are a favorite props for humor. Throwing a pie in a person's face has been a staple of film comedy since Ben Turpin received one in Mr. Flip in 1909, it says. Interesting, fascinating history around Pie Day. Do you have a favorite pie, Dr. T?
Oh, apple blueberry.
Apple blueberry.
Ooh.
Wow.
With the
nice mix.
With a the crumble on top of it.
With the crumble. I think I like strawberry rhubarb. I think is one of my all-time all-time favorites. There's a lot of pies I like. You know what I'm saying? I think to me the more important thing is who makes the pie, who's baking the pie, as opposed to what the kind of pie is. I see I struck a chord with Dr. Mark on that.
My favorite pie is Boston cream pie.
Ooh.
Yes. And
my favorite pie is cream pie too.
Oh, look at that. Thank you. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And thank you all for joining us on High at 9 News. It is also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome for everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And man, I have a great study for you guys. Great study. Every man is going to want to hear this in the world, because a new study published by Cell, Death, and Disease provides fresh insight into how the endocannabinoid system may influence male fertility, identifying a previously underappreciated role for the cannabinoid receptor CB1 in human sperm chromatin remodeling. The research was conducted by scientists from Universidad Policientia de la Marche, Universidad de León, University of Massacreta, and collaborating institutions in Italy and Spain, using advanced confocal and Aeriscan microscopy. Researchers mapped the precise distribution of CB1 in human sperm, resolving inconsistencies left by earlier imaging techniques. The receptor was observed in a dotted pattern along the sperm trail and in select mid-pieces and in discrete regions of the head. Comparative analysis across species showed that while CB1 appears in the sperm tail of both invertebrates and vertebrates, its presence in the sperm head is restricted to roosters and mammals. In mammals, the study identified a population of CB1 receptors located inside the sperm cell, beneath the plasma and outer acrocosmal membranes and extending toward the nucleus. Notably, its intertecicular signal remained even after the acrochrome reaction, suggesting that CB1 may have functions beyond motility and fertilization mechanics. Building on earlier animal research, the team examined whether CB1 influences chromatin structure in human sperm. Activation of CB1 with a selective agonist, something done naturally via cannabis, increased histone H4 acetation, restoring normal levels in samples from men with rosameripia. I'm going to need a doctor's help on this one. This is a long one. As the note,
is that the name of a bacteria?
It's a. I'm not sure. With samples from men with asthenote ratospermia. ASTHENOTERATOZOOSPERMIA. I think that should be in someone's spelling bee, but nonetheless, while another in that endocannabinoid reduced DNA fragmentation, CB1 activation itself did not, indicating distinct regulatory pathways. Taken together, the findings point to a conserved role for CB1 in chromatin dynamics during sperm development and offering new insight into the molecular process underlying male reproductive health, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. There's CB1 in your little sperm heads, you guys. Little swimmy little tadpoles. Crazy. See? See, I'm not.
Asthenoteratospermia. Asthenoteratospermia.
Yeah, that's it's a difficult word. That might be
big one.
That might be the most difficult word we've had to read on High at 9 News to date.
Something to do with spells.
Yeah.
Dr. Mark, you should be able to read that word.
No.
It's beyond.
It's definitely, what is it? It's some kind of sperm problem. Asthenoteratospermia.
Yeah, sounds like.
I'm not the doctor here. Ask John.
You have a doctor in front of your name.
I have a doctorate in chemistry.
Yeah, but you should know all the Greek words, right?
No.
Oh, it means that the sperm is not moving well.
Male fertility disorder.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
They should have just said that.
I mean,
Yeah. And then there's another word for the shape of the sperm are not correct either.
Teratozoospermia. That one's easy.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Say C words.
What?
Or spelling bee words.
Yeah, those are definitely some spelling bee words for sure, right there. That's without
Big
doubt. Yeah. That is for sure. What do you think about this? I mean, the CB1 receptor in the little spermy head. I mean, that means that that's where the endocannabinoid system must start, right there, right? In the CB1 receptor.
It's everywhere, and it's involved in the movement of cells, and movement is big with sperm.
Mm-hmm.
But cells also move, like white blood cells move, cancer cells move, and so maybe that's part of how it helps suppress cancer, the endocannabinoid system.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's involved in all sorts of things. The big question here is, and they've been trying to answer this for a while, is does using cannabis, and particularly they mean high THC cannabis, does it make you infertile? Because that was sort of a myth spread.
Yep.
For a while. And the answer is no. Even if they find that there are CB1 cells that make your sperm not move well, you still seem to get people pregnant and deliver and have normal offspring using cannabis. So real world evidence.
Well, the thing about it is, like you said, it's all about the sperm's movement. And you know what I'm saying? After all, it is one big so-called rat race to see who can be first to the egg, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Because there's only one winner.
Usually.
What do you mean? Sometimes there's more than one winner?
sometimes, rarely.
So what you're saying? So in essence, there would be only one winner, but there's a possibility of a tie.
Yeah, I mean, you do have twins. I mean, and twins can happen a couple of ways.
Mm-hmm. What are those couple of ways?
This particular study is saying that men who had problems with their sperm by taking cannabis and activating the CB1 receptors in the sperm, they actually moved better. That seems like what it's saying.
Is it that did it say that it reduces it
says activation of CB1 with a selective agonist increases histone H4 acetylation, restoring normal levels in samples from men with Asthenoterota zoospermia.
Oh, okay. So it's the opposite of what they've been saying for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is huge news,
right? That's what it's saying.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is it was never a problem. So why are we studying?
Right,
yeah. I mean, let's look at the problems out there. Yeah. But anyway.
So sperm needs trees.
The headline, right, is saying that the CB1 receptor plays a key role in the human sperm remodeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it is playing a role. Yeah. And like we talk about, the CB1 receptor, it can go either way depending on who you are, right? It could tone it down or turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it may be something to help male infertility. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, figure out a way to improve male infertility. Mm-hmm. And maybe activating the CB1 receptor would be something that they will try.
OG Leah Patrick in the chat, she says artificial fragrances are a cause of endocrine disruptions causing fertility, causing fertility issues.
Say that one more time.
She says that artificial fragrances are a cause of endocrine disruptions causing fertility issues.
Endocrine.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and what are those fragrances? They are a lot of them are terpenes.
But there's a difference between like plant-derived terpenes versus artificial terpenes, and I'm willing to bet that most of the things that are causing that are artificial terpenes.
If you want to get some terpenes, you can buy some cheap plant-derived terpenes by the gallon for like $25, $50.
Yeah. I mean, save the terps.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're going to close this story out, and all I want to say at the end of this is, shout out to sperm and shout out to eggs, because without those two things, none of us would be here today. And on that, we're going to go into our first commercial, and we'll be right back.
Was she there too?
Oh,
yeah, she was there.
She was on the stage.
Yes, and we are back, and I have another study for you guys. Because medical cannabinoids show broad neuroprotective effects in ischemic stroke models. Is that right? Ischemic? Ischemic. All right, ischemic stroke models. A study published recently by the journal Frontiers in Neuroscience finds that medical cannabinoids demonstrate wide-ranging neuroprotective effects in various models for ischemic stroke, supporting growing interest in marijuana-derived compounds as potential therapeutic tools for acute brain injury. The research was conducted by scientists from the 3rd Clinical Medical College of Beijing University of Chinese Medicine and Jianwu Hospital of Capital Medical University. Ischemic stroke remains one of the leading causes of death and long-term disability worldwide, with limited treatment options available beyond narrow time windows, notes the study's researchers. To better understand whether medical cannabinoids could help address this gap, the study Cannabinoid bibliometric analysis with a large-scale meta-analysis to evaluate both research trends and experimental outcomes related to cannabinoids and cerebral ischemia. The bibliometric portion of the study reviewed 241 scientific publications published between 2000 and June of 2025, showing a generally upward trend in research activity despite year-to-year fluctuations. An analysis of keyword patterns identified 3 dormant areas of focus: neuroprotective mechanisms, experimental stroke models, and specific bioactive components such as cannabidiol. The meta-analysis includes 26 animal studies and found that medical cannabinoids significantly reduced brain damage and improved neurological outcomes following ischemic stroke. And reported benefits included smaller cerebral infarct volumes and improved neurological function scores, better cerebral blood flow, reduced blood-brain barrier permeability, and lower levels of brain edema. Cannabinoid treatment was also associated with reductions in oxidative stress, inflammation, excocticity, and programmed cell death. Subgroup analysis suggests that intrapreneurial, administradial, and full-course cannabidiol treatment produced more consistent benefits, with isoflurane emerged as a potentially suitable anesthetic in experimental settings. Researchers concluded the study by stating the following: medical cannabinoids exert multi-target neuroprotection in ischemic stroke by improving cerebral blood flow, reducing brain edema and blood-brain barrier permeability, and inhibiting oxidative stress, neuroinflammation, apoptosis, and exolicity. Future research should focus on high-quality clinical trials to validate these findings and translate MCs into clinical practice, you guys. Look at that.
This is the second in a row. You've been picking good studies.
Man, bro, you know, shout out to Anthony Martinelli, you know what I'm saying? That's putting up these studies, you know what I mean? And we really appreciate them over there. And so that's, you know what I mean? We definitely appreciate the work that they do, because they give us a lot of great information over there at the Marijuana Herald. We want to send much love over there to them.
I just want them to change their name to Cannabis Heralds, but I don't think that's going to happen.
You know, it's all about the search vulnerability kind of thing, and so I don't expect that to happen or change. But you know,
yes, but yeah. They report on non-marijuana cannabis as well as marijuana cannabis. So why not broaden their definition? But anyway, the second study in a row that's a myth buster.
Yeah.
The first one that, so they say that smoking cannabis is associated with low sperm count. Mm-hmm. We just see that activating the CB1 cells may help with fertility.
Yeah.
So the opposite. And then the other observational data was that smoking cannabis was associated with increased ischemic stroke as well as heart attacks. And here we see how molecularly, if you choose the right cannabinoids, you may be protecting yourself from the damages of stroke. So benefits of cannabis, as long as you know how to use it the right way, and it's good news in terms of it, but we got to learn how to use it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Dr. Mark, you're kind of quiet. We've had a lot of good news, and you're a little quiet today. What's going on?
Well, I'm alarmed that they're using isoflurane as an anesthetic. John, you know, do you use that a lot? Is that widely used still?
I don't know what they're using these days in the OR. I'm actually having dinner with a surgeon friend of mine, so I'll ask him. But yeah, they used the fluorines for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, they switched, like, you know, I know everyone has to go for them, I know I went to my colonoscopy. They used propofol, which is the thing that killed Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Which is different, and I think has a very different safety profile. The thing about isoflurane is it's a chlorofluorocarbon. It's like one of the worst chemicals for the ozone, right? I think they've tried to phase that out, but look where this research is being done.
China.
People's Republic of China. Right? Yeah. So there, probably isoflurane is just absolutely just peachy fine and whatever. And if you think about it, again, the Chinese, I mean, this maybe isn't as important of a story as we think it is, because the bibliometric analysis, they're actually just analyzing what's already known. We've already known that cannabinoids are neuroprotective, right? There's really no new information here. They're just basically mining information that exists, which is what we already know, which is that, in a stroke or in any traumatic brain injury, neuroprotection and reduction of neuroinflammation, the way that cannabinoids basically quench reactive oxygenated species. This has been known for 30 years. So there's no real new research being presented here. I think they're just looking to mine the existing research and figure out how they can turn it into a treatment. That's all. But I mean, is CBD and other cannabinoids potentially effective for not only controlling stroke symptoms, but actually working on healing it and maybe even preventing it in a way, because you're already predisposing your brain and those tissue, these compounds, perhaps. But
Yep. I mean, I know. So I've always been an advocate saying that the NFL needs to be dosing. You know what I'm saying? Dosing their players with CBD and possibly even THC as well, because of the neuroprotectant that can really help the NFL with all the problems that they have been experiencing with their players with their head injuries.
We're working on
You go
that.
to any doctor and they'll quote you the studies saying that cannabis use is associated with increased stroke, not neuroprotective effects. So this is sort of a tool to counteract what they've been saying.
Yeah, well, they've been programmed to believe that for so long, and that's because the federal government wouldn't fund any study that showed the medical efficacy of cannabis. And so I think when we bring up those topic points and people start to realize that these studies that are conducted, even if it's conducted in China, will be more relevant to the argument and discussion moving it forward.
Well, it's ironic because it's our own government that actually held patent on the neuroprotective properties of cannabinoids. So those were discovered with our tax dollars.
That's right. At
the NIH in Bethesda.
Yep.
By very highly qualified scientists who are actually still at the NIH.
Mm-hmm. You're very right about all of that, Dr. Mark. 100% right. 100% right. Well, shout out to neuroprotectants, because you know what I'm saying, head game is important, you know what I mean, in America. And on that and on like that one, Jess. And on that, we're gonna roll right in to Dr. Gene Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your doctor recommendations online all the time. He does studies, he helps patients, he treats them, and of course, he recommends cannabis where permissible. It is none other than Dr. Gene Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yeah.
But by the way, isoflurane is still commonly used in both pets and humans. So it's out there. My story today is, again, from what I'm proposing to be the Cannabis Herald, but it's really the Marijuana Herald. And it's a story by Anthony Martinelli again. Veterans say cannabis helps manage symptoms, but many avoid discussing use with VA clinicians. A study published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine finds that many U.S. veterans who use cannabis for medical purposes view it as an essential tool for managing symptoms ranging from chronic pain and PTSD to anxiety anxiety, and sleep disorders, yet often avoid discussing that use with their healthcare providers. The study was conducted by researchers from Oregon Health and Science University and the VA Portland Healthcare System, and was based on an in-depth interview with veterans living in Connecticut, Michigan, and Oregon. Why is Portland looking at, anyway, where cannabis is legal? Most participants lived in rural areas and reported using cannabis within the past 30 days for medical reasons. Researchers found that the participants consistently described cannabis as improving their quality of life, either as a supplement to prescribed medications or as a substitute for drugs they felt caused more side effects. One participant explained that cannabis helped reduce hypervigilance linked to PTSD, saying, "I use marijuana as a tool, and for me, this was essential and critical towards recovery." Another veteran described turning to cannabis after pain medications were reduced, stating, "The sativa just gives me the pain relief that I need in order to continue with my day, bringing the pain down to a manageable level." By the way, many people say the same thing about indica. We all know sativa indica designations poorly predict effects. Rather than relying on clinicians for guidance, veterans say they typically obtained information from dispensary staff, other veterans, friends, or personal trial and error. Despite its relevance to their medical care, veterans said they were reluctant to discuss their cannabis use with VA clinicians. Participants cited fears tied to federal legal status, concerns about potential impacts on VA benefits, and a widespread belief that VA providers are not allowed to talk about cannabis, which is not true. One participant described the fear bluntly. It's kind of terrifying because you don't want to mess up, you know. But even when veterans wanted to talk with clinicians, many felt these conversations were cut short or dismissed. Others pointed to frequent provider turnover at VA facilities as a barrier to building building that trust. I have had 6 primary care providers in the last 4 years, one participant said, adding that it made open discussions difficult. Veterans also questioned clinicians' knowledge of cannabis. Several said that they felt more informed than their providers or believed doctors lacked basic understanding of products, dosing, or potential interactions. One participant summarized their frustration by saying, "I feel like I could be more helped by an ex-drug dealer than I could by my doctor when it comes to that." We like that one. Overall, participants reported few perceived risks from cannabis use, often describing it as a natural option with fewer side effects than pharmaceuticals. While some acknowledged concerns about smoking or cognitive effects, many emphasized that the benefits far outweigh the negatives. Several veterans also said that cannabis helped them reduce alcohol consumption or reliance on opiates. The authors concluded by saying, "Our findings on the veteran patient experience around medical cannabis use calls attention to the clinician-patient relationship and petition for patient-centered care on the topic of cannabis. Patient-centered care elevates patients to a partner position with their clinician and focuses all care decisions on the individual's patient's whole health needs and desired health outcomes. Like other qualitative research on this topic, the interviews that we conducted underscored a need for clinicians to be better informed about medical cannabis use and engage their patients in discussions about cannabis use with an open, non-stigmatizing attitude. Given that many veterans are independently integrating cannabis into their medical care, healthcare providers may be positioned to play a more active role in guiding healthcare decisions and informing patients about potential health risks." I love this article. I have little to add to it. I completely support the findings of this study. They're exactly my experience. Although few, there are physicians who are cannabis specialists out there. Their number is growing. There's the Society of Cannabis Clinicians, started right here in the Bay Area, and the organization is now an international organization. So we're getting there slowly but surely. This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High 9 News.
Wow. I mean, Dr. T, this is not surprising overall. And this is, again, just like you said, it's a lot of the same feedback that I have experienced personally from a whole swath of veterans over the years. And shout out to all the men and women that have helped to fight for our country and serve for our country. And, you know, we owe you all a debt of gratitude, because that's one of the reasons that this show is allowed to be, is because of our First Amendment right. And so we want to thank you all for all the rights that we have, that you fight for, and work to protect us, and all of that. So we don't want to go that. But I'm a little surprised that they have, but maybe I'm not surprised of the high turnover, of the fact of them switching, getting a new physician every quarter. It sounded like you said that as many times as 4 times a year. I mean, that makes it really difficult to develop a relationship with someone, especially when you're talking about intimate things in regards with your life. And I imagine that it only exacerbates their PTSD when they're not allowed to have some person that they can confine on a ongoing basis. You know, that needs to be addressed.
Well, there's a high turnover in certain systems, and maybe the VA system is one of them. I have worked in the VA system before. Mm-hmm. I felt restricted, but I felt restricted in most systems because they weren't open to things like medical cannabis and alternative. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe people are just. I think there are a lot of physicians out there who are disgruntled, burned out, mm-hmm. not having the system they're working in.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Any thoughts on this, Dr. Mark?
I think it's great that, the dialogue between your doctor and patient, whether you're a veteran or not, should be something that is very, very sacred and private, but mm-hmm. should be something that, again, you shouldn't be afraid to go in and talk to your doctor about your cannabis use. Yeah. Look, if you're afraid to tell your doctor about it, then you should find a new doctor, right?
Yep.
But they're right. Unfortunately, Mark, the doctors don't. Jason knows more than the doctors about cannabis, right? And,
yeah, but I mean, just in terms of your overall health, I think that there shouldn't be the worry that a vet is going to lose his benefits, or, I mean, it's so, such a disservice that we send people into harm's way by fighting wars, and then we don't take care of them when they come home. If we can't afford to take care of them when they come home, we should never be sending them off to war to begin with. And if cannabis can help veterans overcome their PTSD, it should not only be encouraged, it should be totally lawful, and there shouldn't be any worry about losing your veterans' benefits. That's just so terrible that they threaten to take away their benefits. Well, because they smoked a joint, and the joint makes them feel better, and they know from their own bioassay that this works for me.
I think
they don't need to hear it from a doctor, because they know themselves that it works.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Dr. Mark, but I think there's another component in there too that they also fear. Of maybe not necessarily their benefits, but I think they also hold the potential fear of losing their gun rights as well. And I think that plays into it a lot in addition.
Yeah, they didn't mention that, but that's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point, because those boys like their guns, right?
Yeah,
and I'm not a gun
guns.
person myself, but there are more guns in this country than there are people. So
that's what keeps us from getting invaded.
You can't have gun violence without guns. And the other thing, again, just going back to the veterans issues and everything like that, I mean, when a vet knows that they can get relief from PTSD by smoking weed, they don't need to hear that from their doctor, or they don't need to be. They know themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't need to wait for the government to come out with some study saying, "Oh yeah, this is how you should administer cannabis." Because I think a lot of the addiction that happens with veterans happens because there's doctors at the VA who are prescribing those opiates. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if we can get people on less opiates and more on cannabis, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So if this helps with that, and I've said it 1,000 times, right, Jean? We need more doctors like Dr. T.
Yeah.
The more doctors we have like Dr. T, and the less like, I don't know, the doctor who killed Michael Jackson. I don't know, just somebody who just pushes pharmaceuticals, the better.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I like how you frame that.
Dr. T and Bonnie Goldstein and Dustin Sulak, all these are basically the leaders that are going to show the next generation of physicians that you can incorporate cannabis into your practice.
Well, I chose the article because I knew you'd say that. So
Commercial for Dr. T.
Mm-hmm.
Won't be the last time, Dr. T.
Yes.
We're very grateful for you and for all the patients that you treat with cannabis as frontline medicine. We're all very thankful.
Without
people like you.
I appreciate doing the work. It's much more rewarding than pushing pills and watching people deteriorate. That's for sure.
100%. 100%. Any thoughts on this, Jesse?
No, everybody hit it.
Shout out to all our veterans. We love you and we appreciate you, and
and to all our cannabis doctors like Dr. T,
and to all of our cannabis doctors that are active.
We need a day. We need a day.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. You know, let me put it to you like this: every day that we don't have it, Dr. T, is one day closer to us having it. Yes,
I don't understand that logic, but that's okay.
It's because it's true, because it's inevitable. We're gonna get it. So every day that we don't have it, we're a day closer to getting it. That's you know what I'm saying? That's a key to life right there. And on that, we're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we're gonna be right back. And these ads are currently airing on Fox News.
And rescheduling cannabis, which was classified as more dangerous than fentanyl. Trump's action will destroy the cartel's illicit black market, expand medical research, and ensure seniors and veterans safely receive the care they need. Thank President Trump for delivering on another America First promise.
Ads.
Wait, now you're
Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read, or studies we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And please remember to make sure that you are subscribed to us on X and Rumble, as those are the most stable platforms in the metaverse.
Under President Trump, America is back. Trump's delivered the largest tax cut in history, putting more money in our pockets and restored America's economic dominance. Promises made, promises kept. Now it's time to fulfill another promise from President Trump and reschedule cannabis, which supports over 400,000 jobs and creates billions of dollars in economic growth. Reschedule cannabis and stack another win, Mr. President. America First Agriculture Action Inc. is responsible for the contents of this advertising.
They're going to get stuck.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think there's going to be some things that play out that I think is going to be really interesting that you're going to love, Dr. T. But nonetheless, we're going to roll right into Dr. Mark Scialdone. He's a chemist who likes to identify compounds and sometimes discover them, because there's so many and so much that we still need to learn. And he's out there studying for us and finding these things and educating the youth over at St. Michael's College in the great Green Mountain state of Vermont. It is none other than Dr. Mark Scialdone.
Hey, thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Happy Friday to everybody.
Happy
Hope everyone's having a great week. It's going to be super cold up here in the Northeast. It's a... can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you.
There was some noise in the channel. So, yeah, they say it's going to be below zero, and the wind chill is going to put it down to like 40 below zero. So I don't think it's been in this cold for quite a while up here in the Northeast. But, hey, you take it for what it's worth. It's a beautiful sunny day. And, but it's still freezing cold out there.
You're not going outside.
Drip your pipes, Dr. Mark.
Hey, Dr. Mark, if it makes you feel any better, just know that when I woke up this morning, there was something the matter with my hot water heater, and I had to take a cold shower.
Okay.
70-degree weather.
No. It's 61 degrees in my house.
Yes.
So it's cold for California.
Well, that is cold for California.
Yeah.
So today, my story, actually, this was a story that we put up on the server last week. This comes from the Records of Natural Products, and this is a new paper entitled Bioactive Compounds from the Flowers of Cannabis Sativa, Isolation of a New Alkaloid with Biological Evaluation of Cannabinoids and Sesquiterpenoids. So this comes from a group in Korea. Let's count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 authors. So we call that a football team paper because you must have as many authors as you have on a football team. So it takes a lot of people to do this stuff, and it's great to see this stuff coming out of Korea. So the abstract reads, Cannabis sativa L is a significant plant widely used for both medicinal and recreational purposes. Previous studies have reported that the secondary metabolites of this plant, so those are compounds like THCA and CBDA, the secondary metabolites of a plant are the compounds that are produced by the plant, that those compounds, the secondary metabolites of this plant, play a crucial role in drug research and development. This study aims to investigate bioactive compounds from the hexane fraction obtained through ethanolic extract of cannabis sativa flowers. The isolated yield of 8 compounds, including 1 new compound. So that's what gets me excited. This is the first report of a new compound from cannabis.
Yeah.
And it's unlike the other compounds that are found in cannabis. This is a compound that's actually what they call an alkaloid because it contains a nitrogen. So a lot of the secondary metabolite profiles like THC and most of the phytocannabinoids we know are nitrogen free. This has a nitrogen in it, so it's now called an alkaloid because of that. So their chemical structures were elucidated by 1-dimensional and 2-dimensional NMR analysis, high-resolution electron mass spec, ESI mass spec, and comparisons with previously reported data. Results of the preliminary biological evaluation revealed that compounds 2 through 4 and 8 suppress the proliferation of SKN-SH cells, which is a type of cancer cell, at 10 micromolar. 10 micromolar is pretty dilute, so when things work at 10 micromolar, that means their potency is notable. And they found that compound 4, well, what's compound 4? Delta-9 THC, right? The compound that we know and love, displayed the strongest activity with an IC50 value of 22.53. So IC50 is an inhibitory concentration where 50% of the cells are either inhibited or killed, suggesting that its potential as a candidate for further development for neuroblastoma cell proliferation inhibitors. So neuroblastoma, again, is a kind of cancer that typically affects the brain, and this cell proliferation inhibitor can keep those cancer cells from growing into the brain. In addition, compounds 1 through 8 were also evaluated for antioxidant, tyrosinase, elastase, and collagenase inhibitory activities. Okay, so an antioxidant is something that quenches free radical species. Free radical species are involved in a number of these enzymes' active sites. So if it inhibits that process, they would find that these compounds would show high antioxidant activity. So amongst them, compound 1, which is the new compound, showed the highest antioxidant activity, inhibiting 50.89% at 100 micromolar. So that's 10 times more concentrated than 10 micromolar. But still, if you're hitting this stuff at 100 micromolar, that's still pretty potent. And they compared it with ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, right, which is a known antioxidant that's in human diets. Where things are very different is if you look at this compound is not going to be water soluble. It's going to be water insoluble, where vitamin C is water soluble. So Vitamin C's antioxidant activity is limited to where water can get to, and not necessarily within fatty tissues like the brain, like the pancreas, like the kidney, like the liver, right? So those fatty tissue organs can basically absorb this compound, number one, where vitamin C would basically just be thrown out with the bathwater, so to speak. Compounds 1 through 3, 6 through 8 also demonstrated elastase inhibitory activity with inhibition rates ranking from 49 to 56% at 1 millimolar. So this is now 100 times more concentrated than that 10 micromolar. So they're making the solutions more concentrated, so now they're more active. And they used olinic acid as their positive control. Similarly, compounds 1, 3, and 5 inhibit collagenase. So what collagenase is an enzyme that basically cleaves the protein collagen. Collagen is a very ubiquitous protein that's found throughout the skin and hair. You've probably heard of collagen before. There's things like collagen implants you can get, right, and other things. So collagen, again, is a natural protein that's in the body that provides a lot of structural aspects to your skin and other tissues. However, all compounds displayed relatively weak tyrosinase activity. So tyrosinase, again, is an enzyme that basically cleaves polypeptides at a tyrosine. That's important to create smaller peptide fragments, which act as hormones and signaling molecules. So weakly it inhibits tyrosinase with an inhibition of only 5 to 31%. This compound represents the first public evaluation of the inhibitory activities of the isolated compounds from cannabis sativa against tyrosinase, elastase, and collagenase. So again, 10 authors. Korea has long been a hotbed of pharmaceutical discovery. I've been reading references from the Korean Pharmaceutical Bulletin since the mid-'80s. So there's been a lot of important pharmaceutical research out there. So I don't know exactly what the cannabis policies is in the Republic of Korea. This is South Korea, not
North Korea?
No, not North Korea.
I thought this was North Korea.
No, this is all South Korea.
Disappointed.
You need universities and you need funding mechanisms and you need students, and those things are more abundant in South Korea than they are in North Korea. Authoritarian rule doesn't make for good university systems because one of the tools in their drawer is to dumb down the population.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, to get back to this paper, it's often the case where these compounds are isolated, but they're isolated in very, very small quantities. And just to give you an indication, so when they extracted this, they started with dried cannabis flowers, 3.2 kilograms, okay?
Mm.
And that 3.2 kilograms, they washed it with 10 liters of ethanol, okay, twice at room temperature. Well, when you extract cannabis flowers at room temperature with ethanol, you're going to get a dog's breakfast. You're going to get all kinds of stuff in there. So then what they did is they took that alcohol extract and they washed it with water, and then they re-extracted it into hexane. And so hexane is going to pull just the very non-polar components into it. And then from that hexane fraction, which was only like about, they talk about the hexane 5 fraction being 26.4 grams. So look, they started with 3.2 kilos, and now they're only getting like 20 grams of stuff, right? So then they took that 20 grams of stuff. Actually, they made several different fractions of that. They took one of those fractions, so 13 grams of a fraction, and then they partitioned it on column chromatography, right, which is going to separate different compounds based on their polarity. From that column chromatography separation, they were able to isolate, let's see, so compound number 5. What's compound number 5? Let's see, hold on a minute. Compound number 4 I know is THC delta 9. Compound number 5 is a terpenoid called epiudensmol. That's one that's found in a lot of cannabis. The other compound they found, compound 6, was bisabolol, and they also found guanol, compound number 7, and beta-udensmol, the epi-beta-udensmol. So these compounds, again, are all terpenoids that are in cannabis flowers, but they also isolated this compound number 1. The compound number 1 is the first time they've ever isolated that. Very, very interesting compound. It is identified as 3', 4' dihydro 6' methoxyspirocyclopentene 1, 2', 1' H quinoline 2-R-S' diol. So a new natural product. Yeah, Jason, do you have a question?
Oh, no. That wasn't me.
That was a long name too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they used a bunch of sophisticated NMR techniques to determine its structure. So this is really cool because they're identifying this new compound. I would say that, yes, this is an alkaloid compound, but it kind of is reminiscent of those other compounds that we talked about on a High at 9 News last year, where they used the 2-dimensional chromatography to separate the compounds, and they were called flavoalkaloids. Well, this looks to be like a flavoalkaloid too, because it looks like part of the skeleton of the molecule is flavonoid derived. So flavonoids, we know, are very important medicinal compounds that are found in cannabis and might be partially due for some of its biological activity. So yeah, always great to see new compounds being isolated. You know, the more we isolate, the more we know what's in that, mystery fraction, the more we find out, what cannabis and the compounds that are in there really do. So this is super exciting. I love reading papers like this. It's great to know that this research is going on. Just like that research in the People's Republic of China over in Asia, where they kind of seem to be a step ahead of everyone over here in the West. They've known about cannabis since, ancient Chinese medicine for prehistoric times. So maybe, again, this is just another one of those compounds that they find in cannabis that has all kinds of activity. Maybe it's going to be developed as a pharmaceutical someday. Who knows? So that's my story today from the halls of St. Michael's College here in Colchester, Vermont. I'd be interested in what my other correspondents have to say about this story.
Well, it's not going to be a single agent pharmaceutical, right? I think this is great research because it's highlighting the importance of multi-agent pharmacology, that cannabis is more than THC.
Yeah.
Looking at THC and cannabis is just like saying pie is as good as how much sugar you put in it. Like,
I'd like to think that the more they find out these so this compound, let's do the math for a second. So they isolated 25 milligrams of this stuff. So 0.025 divided by 3,200. So this is 0.00007.8%. I mean, so this is only there in a very, very small quantity, but I think it's like peeling back the layers of the onion, right, Jean? We're finding more and more yes, exactly what you had just said, which is that cannabis is not a drug. It's not a single active ingredient, right? Cannabis is a medicated plant, or a medicinal plant. Let's call it that. It's a medicinal plant. And the FDA, based on the discovery of all these small little compounds, like this brand new compound and some of the flavonoids that are in there and some of these flavoalkaloids and some of these other sulfur-containing compounds, all of these create what cannabis is, right? And what cannabis is, like when the veteran smokes cannabis, or when someone who takes a full spectrum extract can control their symptoms for their seizures. We all know that the full spectrum plant is the most effective form. And this small compound in its 0.0000078% might play its role. It might be so potent that even in that small quantity, it's synergizing with the other alkaloids and the other flavonoids and the other cannabinoids that are in cannabis, give the observed efficacy that we see with whole plants. So, Jean, I think this is exactly more research that's done, the more we find out that it's a polypharmaceutical, it's not just a single active ingredient, the more that the FDA and other regulators will have to develop some type of regulatory strategy to be able to adopt this medicine in an FDA approved fashion.
What percentage of ginger, let's say, would you put in a pumpkin pie by weight?
Oh, you mean the whole spice itself?
This is a Jesse question.
People will put ginger or allspice in a pumpkin pie when they're making it.
Right.
If you measure the weight of all of the ingredients in the pie and the weight of the ginger or allspice you put in it, probably it will be around 0.000% by weight. But if you don't put the ginger in there, the pie doesn't taste right. And that's what my argument with single agent pharmacology is. They've been making pie with one agent, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And we need to go into the next phase of this, the new world.
Analogy, Jason, is most appropriate on Pie Day, since
it is.
It is Pie Day.
Yes,
Dr. T is making a pie analogy.
I see this. I
think I'd go even farther. So, again, who are we to mess with Mother Nature? I mean, the plant has evolved under the sun with roots in the ground for millennia, right? And certainly what we find is that, and there's scientific literature that now backs this up, Jean. I'm sure you've seen some of these reports that will show that a full spectrum extract of CBD is more effective than CBD isolate itself. That result right there should stop the FDA in their tracks to realize that, look, CBD by itself, that's just Epidiolex, right? So CBD with some, flavor. I don't think there's other medicinal components in Epidiolex. He was approved with CBD as the active ingredient, right? I think the FDA has even recognized that we don't have the regulatory mechanism in place to prove the activity of a broad spectrum polypharmaceutical. Now you talk about different strains and different varieties, and obviously different percentages of these compounds are all going to be, impacting, how they work in the body. So, I mean, again, I don't have the solution for this right now, but I would hope that more papers like this come out, the more the FDA will realize, you know what? It's not just THC. Even though THC was the most potent compound in their neuroblastoma testing here, what we would probably assume is that this whole cannabis extract that they made that was enriched with THC, and all those other compounds that are part of that mixture are going to synergize and make the THC work better. Right? I mean, I'm
well said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've heard the analogy that the whole plant, all of the things that are in there, the entourage effect is much like the car, and that THC is just the gas pedal that pushes the whole thing forward and makes it work.
Well, we can think about that on Car Day. I like Dr. T's pie example here on Pie Day.
Is there a Car Day coming up?
I'm sure
there is. Yes, there is. And speaking of that, we're going to hit the gas and we're going to roll into our final commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs. I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Tested. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Yes, and we are back. And I just got some incredible news while Dr. Mark was
awesome.
delivering the story. So, everyone, I just want to make this small announcement, a little promo, you know what I'm saying, that I will be a guest today on One America News on the Matt Gaetz Show, talking about the alcohol retailers pushing Congress to delay the hemp THC ban while regulations are crafted. And so I'm going to be on there today. Make sure that you check it out. One America News, the Matt Gaetz Show. Shout out to Matt Gaetz reaching out and asking me to participate. It's pretty exciting stuff. And hopefully we're going to move this whole thing forward. And speaking of moving things forward, we're going to move right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co. and can help take your brands to the highest plateaus. Maybe not as high as the highest Republican, but really close and right down below. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Jesse Barney.
I'll get you on the same rung as of the ladder.
Oh, yeah.
My story comes out of the Marijuana Herald as well. Of course, our friend Anthony Martinelli. Clinical trial finds cannabis oil matches Lorazepam for treating insomnia and improves the quality of life. A new randomized clinical trial published in Sleep Medicine finds that both traditional Thai herbal remedy and cannabis sativa oil were just as effective as Lorazepam in improving sleep quality among adults with chronic insomnia, while also delivering greater gains in overall quality of life. The study was conducted by researchers from Raja Mangala University of Technology, Isan Sakan Nakhon campus, good old Asian words, and involved 60 adults ages 40 to 70 diagnosed with chronic insomnia. Participants were randomly assigned to receive either the Suk Sayat traditional Thai herbal remedy, cannabis sativa oil known as the Deha formula or the Deja formula, which I've never heard of, so that's interesting, or the prescription sleep medication Lorazepam for 4 weeks. Sleep quality was measured using the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. All 3 groups saw significant improvements by the end of the study period. Average PSQI scores fell from 12.3 to 6.6 in the Suk Sayat group, from 13.6 to 5.1 in the cannabis oil group, and from 14.4 to 5.8 among those taking Lorazepam. Researchers found no statistically significant differences between the 3 treatments, indicating comparable effectiveness. While sleep outcomes were similar, quality of life measures favored the integrative therapies. Participants using the herbal remedy or the cannabis oil experienced larger improvements in both the EQ-5D-5L and EQ-VAS scales. I don't know what those are.
Just questionnaires.
Okay. Then those receiving Lorazepam, some kind of quality of life questionnaire.
Yeah.
Suggesting broader benefits beyond sleep alone. Adverse effects were mild across all groups. A small number of participants using the herbal remedy reported palpitations or muscle pain, while one participant using cannabis oil experienced headache, dizziness, and nausea. No serious adverse events were reported. Researchers concluded that both the Suk Sayat and cannabis sativa oil offer effective, well-tolerated, non-benzodiazepine alternatives for managing chronic insomnia, particularly for patients seeking integrative or traditional treatment options. This is great to me because I've seen some stuff, especially in the kind of neurological propaganda channels. I know that Andrew Huberman is very anti-weed, and he says that it hurts your sleep a lot. It's something that he quotes. So it's cool to see something like this come out. I would hope that he would see it. I know that just this last week, he got challenged pretty hard about cannabis, which was really great. And he is an open-minded person, which is awesome. So he did concede a bit and say that he needed to do more research, which was great. So studies like this are what pushes it back. We've always known that it helps with sleep. People who use it experience that. They wake up more refreshed. They anecdotally say that their sleep feels better. They wake up more rested. So this is just confirmation of that, I think. But I'll toss it over to the doctors and see what they think.
Absolutely. I'm dying to know what was in those 2 herbal formulas.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I want to know what the Deja method is.
What is that?
And was there a VU in there in that Deja method?
No, Deja Nobu.
Deja Nobu. That sounds like a really good restaurant to eat at.
Like Nobu, right?
Yeah.
What are those
like a
things?
K-pop band.
Yeah.
What are those products, Jesse? Did they say?
I'm trying to look it up. No, it didn't say. Oh, it's basically an extracted oil combined with MCT. That's what the Deja.
But are they using type 1, type 2, or type 3?
It's not saying that. What it said was that it was a sativa plant. So I would assume it's type 1.
Yeah, they're all sativa.
Yeah, that doesn't mean.
Yeah, I know, but I think just from their language, right? We would kind of interpret it that way too.
Either 1 or 2, I would say you're probably right.
Yeah. Definitely not a 3, I wouldn't think.
Probably not.
Yeah. So it's a decarboxylated oil that's combined with coconut oil or MCT.
Yeah.
So which would help with metabolism, right?
What is it analyzed for? I mean, is it super potent in THC or?
It's not saying.
No, it's just saying in general. Yeah, it's a pretty high THC. It might be a 1-to-1. So Dr. T, you're right. It's either type 1 or type 2.
Yeah, I mean, Jean, there's something to this 1-to-1 thing. I've talked to another, not pediatric, but a young man who's a Crohn's patient, and 1-to-1 seems to do the trick for him.
Wow.
And they tried several other ratios, but for some reason, 1-to-1 seems to be most effective at alleviating his symptoms.
Are they pain symptoms?
Yeah, pain, GI discomfort, Crohn's, typical Crohn's symptoms.
Yeah. I've seen several, everything from type 3 Ts to 1-to-1s, but 1-to-1s tend to be the most favorable when you compare all 3 types. It's interesting how 1-to-1s are usually the most, for pain at least.
Yeah, which is super interesting because doesn't CBD attenuate? So CBD acts as a inverse agonist or allosteric inverse agonist. Am I right?
I'd love to see. That's a study that you can probably do, right? Do you sort of affinity studies and with mixed substances, to see what sort of the affinity of THC is to the CB1 receptor when you have CBD added to the mix?
Yeah, so I think that work has all been done already. That I'm not a cellular biologist or a molecular biologist. You need to have that skill set to be able to answer your question. But I think that work has been done, and I think what it shows is, again, there's a negative allosteric inhibition that CBD has that attenuates, doesn't completely eliminate or block it, It just changes the activity. And I
It
think
puts the brakes
notably,
on.
yeah,
That-
exactly. Put the brakes.
but the other thing is CBD also inhibits the metabolic enzymes, right?
Yeah,
Which may potentiate it. So I'm very curious what the overall effect is in a living
yeah.
system.
Yeah, so they always say CBD isn't psychoactive, but as you point out, CBD inhibits the enzyme that metabolically degrades anandamide, and if you're inhibiting that enzyme, there's going to be more. Anandamide is a metastable molecule. It's not around for very long, so when it's generated, if it's regulated out by an enzyme that degrades it, there's not going to be a high concentration of it. So I think what has been shown is that CBD increases the amount of anandamide that's now available to interact with CB1.
Right. And THC is less of an agonist than anandamide is at the CB1 receptor, right? It's a partial agonist. So anyway, you can go down a rabbit hole with this. In the end, looks like it's working.
Yeah, that's the bottom line is it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up more, and yeah, it seems like a lot of it is a 1-to-1 or close to 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Maybe on the border of being a type 2, somewhere in the neighborhood of that, and that it's a full spectrum oil that's combined with MCT or coconut oil.
Does it say what that other one is? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I looked that the Suksayat is an herbal remedy that's a bunch of stuff, and it also has cannabis in it. So they didn't notice.
Oh.
They didn't note that. But it just used this as the leaves. And then it's got different peppers and ginger and nutmeg and cumin and some bark extracts and camphor.
Yeah, this kills the pharmaceutical industry because they can't claim that they have the magic formula. This study is proving that herbal remedies, Lorazepam, and cannabis remedies all have the same efficacy. And clearly, the herbal remedy and the cannabis remedy may have a better safety profile than the Lorazepam.
Yeah, that's the really hot part of the article, right? Is that they all were effective, but the herbal side didn't have any bad side effects.
Yeah.
Well, not any. There were a couple that had mild bad side effects, but nothing like Lorazepam is going to do to you.
Especially if you're using it daily, Lorazepam, you have great tolerance. After a couple of weeks, you need to increase the dose. And then
is that a benzodiazepine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Interesting, you guys. Well. I have one final story for you guys, and it is a study as well. So I guess I didn't misspeak on that. But it says that, Dr. T, they say that when you smoke cannabis on a regular basis, you have a problem when you smoke the chronic of developing chronic halitosis. Have you heard of this?
No, interesting.
Yes, well. Listen to this study because possibly cannabis is the cure for chronic halitosis, or maybe it is the cause. But this study is going to let us know, because when you mix the chronic with the chronic, they say that THC is shown to disrupt cavity-causing bacteria and dental biofilms. You guys. A new study published by the International Dental Journal finds that THC, the primary psychoactive component of cannabis, significantly inhibits the growth and activity of Streptococcus mutans, the bacterium most closely associated with dental cavities. The research was conducted by scientists from the University of Detroit Mercy and Hebe Medical University, who examined how THC affects both free-floating S. mutans cells and the complex biofilms the bacteria form on tooth surfaces. Biofilms allow bacteria to cling to enamel, produce acids, and resist antimicrobial agents, making them a major factor in tooth decay. Using antimicrobial susceptibility testing, researchers determined that THC at concentrations of 2 micrograms per millimeter were able to inhibit over 90% of S mutans growth. Even at lower concentrations, THC reduced the bacteria's ability to produce acid, a critical factor in enamel demineralization, and in unrelated samples, the culture's pH fell to 4.5 within 2 hours, while samples exposed to THC showed a slower drop in acidity, delaying the point at which enamel damage typically begins. The study also found that THC strongly inhibited the formulation of new biofilms, and concentrations as low as 1 microgram per millimeter reduced biofilm formation by nearly 88%, while 2 micrograms per millimeter inhibited more than 90%. Imaging and fluorescence testing showed that THC reduced both the number of viable bacteria and the amount of extracellular polysaccharide, better known as EPS, the sticky substance that allows S mutants to adhere to tooth surfaces and form dense colonies. While THC did not physically break apart already formed biofilms, it significantly reduced their metabolic activity and viability. At higher concentrations, researchers observed that THC limited bacterial growth inside mature biofilms for up to 6 hours, suggesting a bacterialistic effect rather than outright bacterial killing. Further testing revealed a likely mechanism for these effects, and THC was shown to cause rapid hyperpolarization of the bacterial membrane within minutes of exposure, and researchers note that changes in membrane potential are closely linked to bacterial metabolism and energy production and survival, indicating that THC interferes with essential cellular processes. The authors conclude that THC may reduce the karyogenic capacity of S mutants by limiting its growth, acid production, and ability to form protective biofilms. They caution, however, that the findings come from an in vitro study and that THC's known psychoactive and systemic effects limit its particular use as a dental treatment. Instead, the findings may help guide the development of safer cannabinoid-based compounds that target oral bacteria without psychoactive properties. And according to the researchers, this work proves early scientific evidence that cannabinoids may influence oral health in ways not previously well understood and could open new avenues for developing anti-cavity therapies based on cannabinoid chemistry. Wow, look at that. Almost makes me want to go and brush my teeth. But what do you guys have to say about this?
Hell yeah. Hey, Jason, are you going to now stock THC toothpaste and THC mouthwash?
I'm so about this. I'm so about this. I think I'll probably even add some CBD in there just for the gum line. You know what I'm saying, Dr.
Yeah,
T?
we already proved that.
Yeah.
CBD is beneficial. So both 1-to-1 toothpaste and mouthwash.
Yeah. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, my whole bathroom's gonna be asphyxiated with THC and CBD, everything from the toilet paper to the mouthwash to the shampoo pretty soon.
Would track and trace allow this?
We're not too worried about track and trace because we're pretty sure and confident that it'll all be covered underneath the new rendition of the Farm Bill, Dr. T. So we're not going to too worry about all that track and trace ridiculousness.
So we're going into the hemp world, okay?
Well, the hemp world is the cannabis world. I believe that there's just two markets. There's the regulated market and the not so regulated market. And I like to live in the not so regulated market because I'm a freedom fighter and America was founded on those core principles.
Well, and it's a lot less prohibitive. I mean, the regulated market is designed for all companies to fail.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. The only company that's designed to succeed is the government.
Right. Well, we're seeing it. I mean, look at the stocks.
Yep.
Are pops, and the proof is in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding. Oh, or is it the proof in the pie today, Dr. T?
In the pie. That's right.
Pie.
Or could it be a pudding pie?
Yeah, there you go.
What do you think about this, Dr. Mark?
Yeah, I mean it's great. You wouldn't think cannabinoids and dental health would be connected, right, Jean?
Right.
But we know
But it
that.
is.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the teeth are a super interesting thing. I don't know if you believe in the Chinese medicine, but there's connection between every tooth in the mouth and an organ, kind of like reflexology.
Mhm.
At least that's supposedly. So I think it's an indication of if you have healthy teeth, you could have a healthy body.
Yep.
If you have unhealthy teeth, that can lead to an unhealthy body because each tooth is connected to
Yeah.
a set of organs.
You're so
Your incisors, I think, are connected to like your liver and your spleen.
you're so right about that.
kidneys,
You're so right
and
about
your
that,
molars.
Dr. Mark. In
Yeah,
the
so
1800s, in 1800s and early 1900s, there were a number of people that would die from infections that occurred and started in their mouth.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
And you have to consume food to live,
mhm.
and so you have to be able to chew the food. It's the beginning of your digestion process that happens in your mouth, and your teeth are the important grinders, similar to a cannabis grinder, to get you the right particle size so it can be digested down in your digestive system. But yeah, I mean, so it's just so important to have good dental health is tied to the rest of your health. And yeah, cannabinoids are part of that game. And cannabinoids, it's known, recruit osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Those are the cells that both create and destroy bone for the remodeling of the skeleton and skeletal feature. And just like they said in this article, the bacteria that get into your mouth live on remnants of food. We all have bacteria in our mouth. In fact, bacteria, our biome starts in our mouth, right? When we start digesting foods, there is bacteria in your mouth that help break down some of those foods. But I think they're talking about things like strep and some of these other insidious bacteria that will live in the crevices of your teeth. And like you said, they generate acidic byproducts that basically start degrading the enamel and can get into the underneath dentin part of your tooth, cause all kinds of issues. And there's just loaded with nerves. Ask anybody who's ever had a root canal how pleasant that experience is. I just had a crown replaced a couple of weeks ago, and I could tell you, it's a whole different thing when you have a different thing on top of your tooth. So maintain and take care of your teeth. Brush twice a day. Try to floss once a day. Absolutely. Good dental health is the key to good health. Dr. T, would you say that the patients who walk into your office that are healthy often have good teeth?
Well, people yes. Well, I wouldn't say good teeth. I would say those who are in poor health.
Good oral hygiene habits.
Yeah. Sometimes those who are in poor health are also not taking care of their teeth.
Right.
So there's a correlation there.
That's right.
Fair enough. What do you think about all this oral hygiene, Jesse?
That makes sense. There's all kinds of bacterial and viral regulation that happens from cannabis, so it totally makes sense.
And and to OG Grandma 420 in the chat, it says dental health care is critical, yet good insurance coverage is seriously lacking. And I personally agree with that. That is very true. But hopefully that will all change with the new Trump RX plan, where you're going to be able to choose your own doctors and be able to pay them from the money from that whole plan. So hopefully that works out for everyone. And is
the Trump RX plan going to cover THC toothpaste?
Yes, it very possibly could, but then that toothpaste would be classified as a Schedule 3 toothpaste, and maybe that's a great name for a toothpaste, Schedule 3. And that, oh man, Dr. T, I think we're onto something right now. Oh, fluoride-free Schedule 3. You know what I'm saying? Coming to a grocery store near you. Oh, this sounds so mouth-watering.
Afraid of THC. I don't know.
Oh, that's just that name just is so mouth-watering right there. I think we're onto something right there.
I just realized this. I just invented some new fluorinated cannabinoids.
Here we go. Look at this, man. I smell a collaboration coming for this new toothpaste line, and this, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be able to purchase.
Can you attach fluoride to cannabinoids?
We would be fluoride free. We'd have fluoride based terpenes, so that way people still think that everything is still working the same. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in and listening to the daily insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on over here, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. Thank you to Cloud Media Partners Elias and Gabriel, because they're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And make sure to watch the Matt Gaetz Show tonight at 3:30 Pacific and 6:30 Eastern on One America News.